Nick, what do you get when you have one of the most physically talented, martial artists in the world with a bottomless well of potential, and you give her a group, you put her in the middle of a gym, a group that does nothing but stroke her ego and make her think that she doesn't need to change her game up? What do you think's going to happen?
Lose.
Exactly. And not only that, but eventually she's going to start believing her own bullshit. And yeah, it's just... Oh, it's not pretty. It is not pretty at all what happened when Ronda Rousey... When women's MMA eventually caught up to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey could have been champion for a number of years after. She could have. Given her pedigree, how ahead of the game she was in submissions. But the problem was her striking. Her striking, while she did have power against people who knew what the hell they were doing, she didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell. And I remembered, as soon as the losses started to rack up, I was just like, she's never going to be the same. She's never going to fight again. And yeah, if she would have just taken those losses and just been gracious about it, that'd have been one thing. But instead, she tried to pull the whole thing where she was just like, I didn't lose, because if I admit that I lost, then that would make me a loser. It's like,
no, losing makes you a loser.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if you're in denial or not.
Well, yeah. Well, she's basically fully in a river in Egypt, in denial. Yeah. The whole deal with Ronda Rousey was, this woman had the whole world in the palm of her hand. She was the golden goose for the UFC. Everyone wanted a piece of Ronda Rousey. Everybody wanted to be involved with Ronda Rousey. Like action movie producers, fashion brands, everything wanted to be involved with Ronda Rousey. But then all of a sudden, it all just came crashing down. And it was all because of her ego. It was because she never checked her ego, and she just kept putting people around her who would tell her what she wanted to hear instead of telling her the truth. And that to me is just like, it hurts. It hurts to see someone with great potential like that wasted because she just can't admit the people around her are worse for her than anything else. But anyway, Sonny V2 has a video about Ronda Rousey, and it is called "Why People Are Laughing at Ronda Rousey's Failure." I can take a few guesses as to why, but let's hear Sonny V2's side of the story. Here we go.
She might have 17 million followers, but with only a couple thousand likes per post, it's safe to say Ronda Rousey has only a few active fans. Through hypocrisy, a massive ego, and undeniable delusion, Ronda Rousey has become one of the most unlikable athletes ever, recently wrecking her final career opportunity and sparking a mass exodus of social media followers. So why are people so happy to see her fail? Well, arrogance, that's why.
What makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world.
Now, in the beginning, Ronda's arrogant statements were at least partially justified. She'd spent 4 years winning every fight available, although there was one massive issue. 9 out of her 12 fights were won using the exact same move.
Well, that's the thing. It's because she was so good at it, no one had a defense for it. And if you are literally better than everybody else at it, why should you change it? That's the thing. I know people were saying, oh, she's a one-trick pony. She was. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. She was a one-trick pony. It's like judo throw, armbar. Judo throw, armbar. Judo throw, armbar. I know, that's the joke. But here's the thing. She showed that she had power. These fights right here showed that she had power. It's just she could never properly utilize it because the person who was teaching her was an absolute shithead. Edmund Tarverdian. Edmund Tarverdian is a backstabbing, manipulative piece of shit. Even Ronda's own mother said this about Edmund Tarverdian. Her own mother. Jesus.
Submission via armbar. Fans would therefore label Ronda a one-trick pony because while being extremely
terrifying.
skilled at armbars, she was seriously lacking in other MMA areas.
Yeah.
As far back as 2012, people wrote, "Does anyone else think Ronda Rousey is greatly overrated? Her
No.
striking game is almost non-existent. Is she a good judoka? Absolutely. Is she a good mixed martial artist? Not at all."
And Ronda had a very limited approach. She didn't kick, and she wasn't necessarily the most skillful boxer. She didn't really have a tremendous amount of experience.
Her lack of striking ability has since been featured in compilations such as this one, while people were even commenting at her peak, "Anytime I need inspiration, I watch her hit a heavy bag or shadow box. If she can make it to the UFC with that sloppy garbage, then anything is possible." Despite her obvious weak
Once
spots,
again-
Ronda maintained her
Once again, bad coaching. Bad coaching. Because here's the thing. If I'm Ronda Rousey, I'm going to like the best striking coaches in MMA who have a proven track record. Dwayne Ludwig, Mark Henry, Faraz Zahabi. I'm going to people who know what the hell they're doing. I'm not going to like I'm not going to a shady son of a gun who's just like, it's like, "Oh, you're greatest fighter in the world. You don't have to learn proper technique. No, you're greatest fighter in the world." Fuck you, Edmund. Fuck you. Jesus.
arrogance.
I know.
I'm mad because Edmund Tarverdian didn't only ruin Ronda Rousey, he also ruined Travis Brown. Like, Travis Brown at the time was one of like the elite heavyweights in the world, but because he fell in love with Ronda Rousey, he left Jackson Winklejohn, which is one of the best MMA schools out there, and instead went to the Glendale Boxing Club because he wanted to be with Ronda Rousey. And then where did his trajectory go? He was at the top, and then all of a sudden, plane crash. It was terrifying how shitty Travis Brown got after he went to the Glendale Boxing Club.
The level of my striking is at, and that's one of the advantages that I have is they don't really know.
Which even extended to her personal life.
I really wouldn't want to waste any time on a guy that is easily intimidated by me. I mean, there's more intimidating things in life than me. So if that stopped you already, then you're just saving my time.
Although there was no better example of arrogance than her 12th and final UFC win. Egotistical look on her face, as if she couldn't be beaten by anyone.
Yeah, Betch Kohea. They had to skip. I think they had to skip the clip there because UFC is very hardcore when it comes to like loaning out clips. Ronda knocked her cold, but Ronda looked like she was flailing like this. She was like no technique whatsoever, and she hit her and knocked her out, but that was it.
Ronda
Basically beat her
refused
by look.
Yeah,
to
basically.
show even the smallest bit of humility, and as explained by one of the comments, this was probably the worst thing that could have happened to Rousey. This fight was her downfall as it made her far too confident in her bad striking, and she never felt the need to improve anything, which was especially bad given her next opponent was Holly Holm,
Yep.
a 19-time boxing world champion. In the lead up to their fight, Holly was humble and extremely kind.
As far as Ronda's performances, not just some of them.
This is the
impressive,
only
all of them.
time that I ever actually saw Ronda Rousey fight. And, like, whenever I saw that fight, I was like, why does everybody like Ronda Rousey?
Well, the main thing is
I immediately became, like, a fan of Holly. I was just like, she's way cooler than
Well,
Ronda.
and here's the thing. Ronda, once again, putting herself around the wrong people and just making it, and basically it's the same thing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, when he was younger and he was around like people like Don King and all the yes men that Don King put around him, Mike Tyson was not a good person to be around. Even he admits that. He admits to being a complete piece of shit during that era. From like 1989 to like 1996. He admits wholeheartedly that he was just not a good person to be around. because of how shitty he was, and he was a villain.
You know, I was the same way during the same years.
Yeah, and
It's because I was a kid and I was
Yeah.
an annoying kid.
yeah, and that's the thing with Ronda. Ronda, I hope in years to come she humbles herself and realizes that, you know, she doesn't have to be this way. She doesn't have to be an egotistical jerk because she's one of the greatest female fighters of all time. She is literally one of the greatest of all time. There's like a pantheon of like greatest female fighters. There's Amanda Nunes, and then I would say after that is Ronda. I would probably say that Amanda's the best, the GOAT in terms of female MMA. And then I'd probably say like Cyborg after that, like Cyborg Santos, then Ronda. But because Ronda had a better career in the UFC, I don't know. There's a lot, dude. There's just a lot that I could once again. But Holly here was mature. She was calm, cool, and collected. There was no bare bone. There was no bad blood or anything with her. But then Ronda basically tried to pretend like Holly was just talking shit about her. It's because I remember their face off and Ronda got really aggressive, was just putting her fist in Holly's face and screaming at her. I'm like, the hell's that about? And then all of a sudden Ronda was just no, she's acting like this, but I heard her talking a lot of trash about me out backstage, and that I'm not gonna stand for that. It's who heard her say this? And it turns out it was members from her camp, Edmund Tarverdian's dudes made the shit up just because. Well, Ronda needed a reason to be mad at her. It's
have been impressive, so I mean nobody can argue with that.
While Ronda was extremely rude, maintaining that nobody could ever beat her.
Beating Holly Holmes is definitely in my hands, and I'm going to do it.
Ronda's arrogance was even worse in other interviews.
I'm great at this. I'm the best at this. I'm more prepared than she is for this, and I'm going to win on Sunday. Everyone's going to see.
Still refusing to show a single shroud of humility.
I'm better than every other girl in every area of MMA. MMA striking
No,
is
you're not.
different, and I think I'm the best at it.
When the day of their fight finally came, Holly refused, and while Ronda had
Oh
just
yeah,
always
Holly tried to do a glove touch, and Ronda was just just backed off.
weeks prior stated,
She can try and kick me in the head, but it's not going to go like that. Not the way she wants.
this is exactly how the fight ended. Holly knocked Ronda out with a kick to the head, with Ronda's face from before and after the fight confirming she'd been completely humbled. Well, just kidding. Ronda refused to accept that Holly was simply better.
I think that it's probably just hard for her to really maybe admit that. I was just the better fighter.
And instead began to make braggy excuses for why she lost the match.
It was my third title fight in 9 months, and I don't think anyone's ever even attempted that before. And that's a
No,
lot.
they
The
have.
only thing that was different, I just kind of felt tired.
Ronda then
John Jones defended his title, I think, 5 times in a calendar year. So, nah, that dog don't hunt.
tried to make the audience feel bad for her.
What am I anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and I'm nothing. I'm what do I do anymore? No one gives a shit about me anymore without this.
Although the comment section wasn't having any of it. You know, Ronda's ego was so out of control and she thought herself unbeatable. She had no respect for anyone and trashed all of her opponents. She deserved to get knocked out and brought down to earth. In an article titled "Rooting for Ronda Rousey is Tough and It Has Nothing to Do with Her Loss," ESPN highlighted that Ronda had publicly smeared Floyd Mayweather for his history of domestic violence, yet she was dating another MMA fighter who had been accused of domestic violence himself. To make matters
Well, that's the thing. Travis Brown was accused, but there was never any thing brought up against him. Plus, his ex-wife, had a history of drug abuse, and I mean, I'm not gonna say nothing happened, but there's a lot of evidence, and also Floyd did get charged with domestic violence, got fully charged with it. So I don't know. Also, but yeah, it is kind of hypocritical for Ronda to call out Floyd Mayweather, then just jump into the arms of a dude who just literally got caught, kind of got accused for that. It is a bit weird, Especially if she was on a platform of just like, girls need to stand up for themselves. It's like...
Worse, the article brought up Ronda's 2015 book, in which she talked extensively about assaulting her ex-boyfriend. She punched him in the face with a straight right, then a left hook. When he still wouldn't move, she slapped him again, then grabbed him by the neck of his hoodie, kneed him in the face, and tossed him aside on the kitchen floor. The incident ended, she said, at her car, when he tried to prevent her from driving away, and she pulled him by the neck of the hoodie again, dragged him out onto the sidewalk, and left him writhing there. This might explain why Ronda also began to claim that she could beat the male heavyweight UFC champion, stating, "You cannot tell me that it's physically impossible. It is possible that in any given moment that I could beat him. I simply believe in my possibilities." UFC.
To which Cain Velasquez would basically just like pat her on the head and just be like, "That's cute. That's cute. All right. Get off the floor before you get hurt." Cain, you don't fuck with cardio, Cain. You don't fuck with him.
Fighter Ian McCall politely responded, "She's dangerous, she's good, I get it, but it's just silly." Meanwhile, on Reddit, people dunked on Ronda mercilessly. "In any given moment, under the right circumstances, I think it is possible. Sure, but armbarring a man while he is sleeping is just a dick." A different user then shared this video showing that Ronda couldn't even keep up during a sparring session, and therefore added the comment, "With this video, anyone with the deduction skills of an 8-year-old would have to say a 250-pound Cain would have as much trouble with Rousey as maybe a really angry toy poodle." Ironically, Ronda couldn't even win against those in her own division, which only became more obvious in her next fight after Holly Holm. 1 year after getting owned by Holly, her opponent, Amanda Nunes, who knocked Ronda out after only 48 seconds. Ronda's face from before and after the fight was again extremely poetic, with the top comment stating Holly took her to school and Amanda straight up expelled her. Such an embarrassing loss for one of the most arrogant, ungracious fighters in MMA. Love to see it. In the lead up to the fight, the media had said about Ronda,
"If she doesn't win impressively, I think this is her last fight. If she loses, I don't think we ever see her again." Which turned out to be true, although Ronda still refused to admit that she wasn't the better fighter.
Do you think about the last couple fights? Do you think about the last fight against Amanda or Holly?
I think I'd just rather not talk about that right now.
Poor Ronda, she still can't get over those 2 losses in the UFC. You can clearly tell every time someone asks her questions about her return to MMA. She'd post a photo to her Instagram reading, "And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life," which turned out to be accurate, as she'd soon find another chance at repairing her public image. In January 2018, Ronda Rousey signed a full-time WWE contract.
But you're doing this full time now, right? This is your job?
Full time. They got me for a multi-year deal.
And after her debut match, she was surprisingly loved by the audience. The Washington Post wrote, "The match exceeded expectations, with fans firmly behind Rousey, even breaking out into yes chants at points," while comments on the debut video read, "Glad to see her smiling again. Reminds me of when she first started her MMA career. She was so genuine here. Hard to see why anyone could hate her. I'm actually excited to see her. I just hope Vince doesn't screw this up." Although, as highlighted by a later comment reading, "It's impressive how she managed to turn both the MMA and wrestling fan bases against her. Her WWE likability wouldn't last long, because the show chose to pin Ronda against an even more beloved wrestler, Becky Lynch, and as a result, Ronda was painted as the villain and booed by fans during every single match. As a part of their storyline, Becky was arrested, posting the mugshots to her Twitter where Ronda completely lost it. That's what I'm trying to do, dumbass. You hobbling around trying to be a ginger crutch ninja and taking fake prison photos in the hallway isn't helping." Becky responded with, "Keep that F word out of your mouth and concentrate on getting better at this business instead of trying to remain above it. Looking forward to seeing you real soon."
Love the fact that they put her face over Tommy Wiseau. It's like, "I did not hit her. I did not." Oh, hi, Mark.
Ronda then responded again, stating, "F word? You mean fake? Fake like your nonsensical BS armbar that doesn't even work and just looks like you're holding the dick you wish you had," before doubling down by writing, "I don't care what the script says. I'm beating the living shit out of you the next time I see you." But while the drama seemed to have been set up by the show, Ronda continued to bash the WWE on her YouTube channel.
"It's not an act. I'm not going out there and doing their fucking act anymore. I meant that I'm going to disrespect the sport that they all love so much. It's scripted. It's made up. It's not real.
Less than a month later, WWE took Ronda off the show, yet she only continued to bash them, writing, "Anyone who is outraged by me calling pro wrestling fake fights for fun has never been in a real fight. While you all are tiptoeing around bruising some pro wrestlers' huge soft egos, no one is thinking about all the real fighters you're insulting when pretending pro wrestling is somehow on the same level of realism." Ronda then appeared on Steve-O's podcast again calling wrestling fake.
Having like fake fights for fun. I love choreography. I love acting. I love theater.
Before bravely bashing her fans.
Spending my time on energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me.
And claiming she'd never return to WWE again.
I'll never to be full-time again over 200 days a year like that ever again.
The irony was that 3 years later, Ronda did exactly that, albeit with the attitude that she was too good to even be there. Can't speak for anyone else, but for me, it really shone through that she wasn't enjoying herself, especially with the complaints about fan reactions. She never looked like she wanted to be there and acted like pro wrestling was beneath her. Whether true or not, it's how it came off. Hashtag Fire Ronda Rousey therefore began to trend on Twitter, which became a reality only 4 months later as she'd be booted from wrestling again. With almost zero career prospects, Ronda Rousey agreed to an extensive Raid Shadow Legends deal and has spent the last year writing another book, the release of which has made her a total laughingstock. Over the last month, she's promoted the book on various podcasts, leading to a Reddit post showing that 9 years later, Ronda Rousey is still making it.
Because, well, the thing is, Steve-O, he basically like takes in anybody he wants to. Plus, I think him and Ronda actually were like friends to a certain extent. But I don't know if they still are. I don't know.
I just figured he was a better judge of character than that. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, man.
Excuses for losing to Holly Holm.
My mouth guard was bad. I literally came into that fight concussed from slipping down some stairs already after all these years of concussions, and then I had an absolutely terrible weight cut.
Oh my God, excuses. No Johns, Ronda. You lost. You lost. There is such a thing as acceptance. Here's the thing. There's things that I was pissed about from a long time ago that, unfortunately, I came out on the bad end of. Guess what? I lost. There is nothing wrong with admitting that you've lost. Nothing wrong. Losing is part of life. And once again, just like I had a bad mouth guard, I slipped and fell and got a concussion. You know, after all the other concussions I had a bad weight cut. My laundry got caught up at the cleaners. My car broke down. I had a flat tire. I had to walk uphill to school both ways. I mean, Jesus Christ, what's she gonna say next?
Which, you know, that means you have less fluid in your brain to protect it.
Ronda then made even more excuses on Steve-O's podcast.
I have no ACL. I tore my ACL falling down that stairs 2 weeks before that fight, the home fight.
Leading to some pretty funny comments such as, tore my ACL, had a concussion, bad weight cut, I had bubble guts, my car wouldn't start, my dog ate my homework, and I've had scoliosis since I was 3. So yeah, didn't really lose, did I?
Yes,
Ironically,
you did.
Ronda also stated this.
I'm the greatest fighter that has ever lived because I've never been faster, never been stronger, never had a better grasp of the game. I've never been so much better than everybody else.
Yet when Steve-O kindly offered props to Logan Paul, Ronda Rousey refused to accept it.
How about Logan Paul? Like him or dislike him, that dude is a performer.
Yeah. He's great on the mic. He does a great job on the mic. But I mean, I wish that I was allowed the time to rehearse that he gets.
You were given that time to rehearse, Ronda. You were given years in advance to up your game in terms of like understanding professional wrestling. Yet you did nothing. You just kept thinking that you should just be, I'm Ronda Rousey. I should just walk in there and they should just give me the belt. Instead of like going out there and performing. Like, fuck. Jesus, the ego on this woman.
because it's not evenly spread. It's frustrating that like everybody doesn't get that treatment.
Ronda is jealous that Logan is already a better wrestler than she ever was.
Yeah.
I think she might be unhappy with how her run in the WWE went, but I don't know anything really about that.
It seems Ronda Rousey has burned every bridge she could possibly burn, which when combined with her complete lack of fans, makes it highly likely her career is done and dusted.
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm her, I'm literally counting my money and I'm checking out, and I'm just like never going to get involved with anything again because no one will ever hire me. Ugh. Jesus. What do you say about someone like Ronda Rousey? Other than just like...
Yeah, you screwed up when people favor Logan Paul over you.
Yeah. I had a bad mouth guard. I fell down some stairs. My dog stepped on me.
Right.
Refused to touch gloves with an opponent who was nothing but gracious and respectful. And told me everything I needed to know right there.
Mm-hmm.
The video of her shadow boxing has got to be one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. Yeah, her just like there's no snap on those punches. If you're like boxing, like you protect your chin. Like whenever you jab, you like bring your arm all the way out to like protect your chin. You like tuck your head down and protect your chin, and like always keep your hands up, because like doing this, that just means that like someone who knows what the hell they're doing, they're just gonna be like step, side step, counter hook. There you go. That's exactly what Amanda Nunes did, and Amanda Nunes knocked her ass out. Oh, gosh. Yeah, look at this. Even WWE turned against her. They gave her a big push, but her ungratefulness made every wrestling fan turn against her. Yeah, literally. I remember when she came up in WWE after the Royal Rumble was over, dude, the crowd was deafening. Like, you couldn't hear anything other than screams. You could barely hear her music. And then all of a sudden, very slowly, when it showed that, oh, she's not improving as a performer, and also not only that, but she basically is unhappy that other people get to, like, that's the thing. Ronda has it in her mind that she can never lose, even when in something predetermined like professional wrestling. Yeah, Ronda, you could probably beat up a lot of the girls that you're wrestling against, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you need to disrespect them and feel like that, you know, they should all be grateful that you're there. Dude. I would say the biggest thing that Ronda could have done is if she would have taken the crowd booing her, and she would have used it as fuel to like become like a mega heel. Become like a mega heel and just play the bad guy and just go out there and just keep dominating people. And then eventually she would go up against someone like Becky Lynch or, you know, like a big babyface wrestler, and they'd have like a big match. And Ronda would get the win initially, and then very slowly the babyface would get one over on her, and eventually the babyface would win the belt off of her. Like, that's like a good thing they could have done, but no, Ronda, I guarantee she's like, you want me to lose? Well, I don't lose. Like, if she tries to pull that on me, then I'm just gonna like reverse, and I'm gonna armbar her for real. Then I'll break her arm. I guarantee you that's what she probably told the people in WWE Creative. Well, Ronda Rousey, everybody. Any final words or any final thoughts about Ronda Rousey?
When you can't be humble when you lose, you're gonna lose even more.
This is true.
Respect of everybody.
Yeah. Very, very true. Well, anyway, that's going to do it. So, thank you all very much for tuning in. And I guess until next time, signing off, I am Nate.
I am Nick.
Y'all be good people. Take care. Peace.